Man, I want my kids to have like little Amish kid friends. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to move out to Amish country. There's some in Missouri, a few different places. But if you don't interact with the Amish, they're probably a lot different than you think. Like they're not out there like just manually digging carrots and potatoes out of the dirt, the whole family out there doing it. That's not really what they're doing. I mean, most of them have farms. They're running businesses off of the farms, sometimes like multiple businesses. I haven't been out there lately, but we have some Amish communities that we deliver freight to, and I'll run freight with a semi truck to all these businesses in the rural areas, and I'll go out to Amish farms just periodically. They're ordering hardware, they're ordering parts or whatever to make stuff with or whatever, or we're like picking up stuff from them because they're shipping stuff out because they make products and they're shipping stuff out. But some of them own like framing companies, concrete companies. I don't know, you name it. I mean, they got all these businesses, machinery, but they don't use the machinery for leisure or recreation. They just use it for work, for business, right? I think that's kind of like a typical rule in these Amish communities out here. I'll pull up to these farms, and these kids, these are children, and they're out there working like unsupervised, and they're fine. Like nobody's worried about it, right? Like, okay, more than once this has happened. I come pulling up onto these Amish farms. I'm in the semi truck. I got pallets of stuff to unload. Usually farms, they got skid loaders around. They usually got a fork attachment. Put the fork attachment on. It's like a forklift kind of. They can unload pallets off the back of the truck. These aren't lightweight pallets. Most of it's like hardware or supplies that they're going to use to build their products, or maybe like bags of feed or something. And that stuff gets heavy really quick, right? Dude, these kids are impressive, man. Like this was probably a year ago or so. I'm coming up to this Amish farm. I roll up the drive, and there's these two kids, like in this, it was kind of a pen, like a horse arena or something. They're training these horses. Well, these are kids. I mean, it's probably 7 or 8 years old. One was like 10 maybe, and there's no adults around. They had this big like loop drive. So I come pull up, I kind of take the loop and I get out, and these kids walk up and I'm talking to them. Hey, I got the freight. It was like some kind of livestock feed or something. It was like these 50-pound bags of feed. And anyway, I had several pallets of it. It's heavy stuff, I mean, just a bag of dog food gets heavy, you get a whole pallet of it, a couple 1,000-pound pallets. Anyway, telling these kids, I got several pallets or whatever. Do you got somebody? There's a skid loader sitting over there with a fork attachment. You got, your dad or somebody who could come unload. And they were like, no, we're good. They start talking to each other in Dutch. The little one goes and gets in the skid loader, comes pulling over to the trailer. The older one is guiding him in, but they're talking in Dutch. And he's, hey, you got to raise it. All right, come on in, whatever, pick it up. And they unloaded the whole 4 pallets, 5 pallets, whatever it was. They unloaded the whole thing on their own, no problem. And at one point, I'm guessing it was their dad or uncle or somebody. It was like an older male, comes rolling up. He's in a buggy. He comes pulling up, and he kind of stops, hops off the buggy. He kind of glances at him, and then he just carries on over to the barn like he didn't even need to waste his time. These parents, I've seen this happen numerous times. They're so locked in with what their kids are doing. They trust their kids so much. No questions there. Like these are kids taking a break from training horses to unload a semi truck with heavy equipment, and they didn't need help. They didn't need permission. They didn't need to go have somebody monitor them. But this is regular. This isn't some rare event. I've seen it happen a bunch of times like that. But I don't want my kids like living on the Roblox, like living on, and I'm not like super anti-screen time, anti-games completely. There's opportunities for learning. Yeah, there's opportunities for cool stuff on there. There's opportunities to waste time, though, and a bunch of other stuff. Not to mention, I never want the screen to be a crutch. I mean, that's later stuff. Right now, our kids are newborns. But, I mean, I don't know, being outside is at least a supplement to me now and for our kids. It will be. But I think being in an environment, not just outside, but being in a daily environment where you're not locked onto that screen, and locked on to social media, I think will be very beneficial to them as they grow. I say that because, like, if there's one thing that I miss from my childhood, it was that we weren't by default going to the social media, by default going to the phone. We weren't fixated on it. We didn't even have them. They didn't exist, like, not like that. Um, I mean, nobody had like a default reaction when something cool happened. Oh man, I need to document that and put it on social media. Like, nobody thought like that. We just didn't. I mean, everybody was present in that place in that time. That's the big thing, is people weren't other places. We were present in the place at that time. And I want my kids to experience that and kind of live like that if possible. But anyway, the Amish country, something special, dude. And if you're unfamiliar with like really how they operate these days, I think you'd be pretty impressed. I mean, I've seen the humility in the elder men. I've watched them do manual tasks without hesitation and order the younger one to run the equipment. There wasn't like this pride or ego thing where it's like, oh, hey, I'm the dad, I'm gonna run this equipment. You do all the grunt work or whatever. It was like they just go. They just get it done. And it seems like they really have a high priority on teaching that next generation and making sure that the youth are really walking into all the responsibilities, pretty confidently, pretty young. That's just what I've seen. That's been my experience with them. I mean, it's more like anything that dad can do. They're teaching the kids to do. It's not like this pride issue or whatever. So, I mean, it's kind of, at least from what I've seen, it's passing on a bunch of lessons and teaching skills. They're doing it early. And it's not like periodic. It's not like once in a while or whatever. I see this stuff all the time in the Amish community, all the time. These days, I like the idea of moving rural more and more all the time. And I got good neighbors, but just not having people close and having a lot of room around me sounds more appealing all the time. But there's just a lot of fun to have out in the rural areas anyway. And I don't want my kids doing typical crap. I don't want them, whether it be rural or in the city, wasting time doing stuff just because it's popular, less thinking for yourself. I don't want my kids really walking these like predetermined thought process paths, where popularity sort of dictates what they do or what they get into or whatever. But I think one of the best things to do to combat that is to be engaged as parents. I mean, look, I remember growing up how my parents were engaged, and my wife remembers how she grew up, and we just want to capitalize on all that. So I guess like my whole view at this point is just nurture the hell out of them when they're tiny babies. Let them be kids, let them be comfortable kids. Get them outside, enjoy nature, really have a lot of experiences and adventures with them. And then as they grow into those preteen years, I want them enjoying their time with their family and their parents, and our identity as a family, and confidence in their home. I want them to have a good, rich perspective. Regardless, I want my kids to have some damn little Amish kid friends, dude. Those kids are getting after it. And that's all just been my experience with the Amish community, multiple Amish communities, different areas in Missouri. That's been my experience, but maybe meet some Amish folks. They're pretty damn impressive.